The year is 1605. The month is November, just days after discovery of 36 barrels of gunpowder hidden beneath the Parliament. You are standing in the dark, drafty corridors of Whitehall Palace in London. The air is thick with the sulphurous stench of coal smoke, unwashed woolen doublets, stale tallow candles, and an overwhelming, choking scent of panic. Outside, the Thames churns black and icy. Inside, every floorboard creaks like a whispered threat. You are King James I of England, sovereign ruler of two realms, and tonight, like every night, you are terrified to go to sleep. Modern movies paint royal bedtimes as moments of serene luxury, complete with silk sheets, gilded four-poster beds, and peaceful slumber behind velvet drapes. We imagine kings retiring to their chambers after lavish feasts, safe within the stone walls of their fortresses. But for James Stuart, bedtime was not a peaceful retreat. It was a nightly endurance test, a tactical exercise in survival, and a terrifying plunge into paranoia. Whitehall was not a sanctuary. It was a sprawling wooden maze of 1,500 rooms filled with courtiers, mercenaries, spies, and shadows. After the narrow escape of November 5th, every darkened corner held an assassin, every faint whisper was a new treasonous conspiracy, and every shadow on the tapestry promised a blade in the chest. Before you can even approach the royal bed, your servants must execute an exhaustive military sweep of the entire bedchamber. Imagine a modern Secret Service detail conducting a counter-terrorism check, but using lanterns, iron pikes, and broadswords. Guards thrust long iron rods into the heavy velvet curtains, piercing the fabric to check for hidden killers. They prod deep into the massive feather mattresses, flipping bedding and searching beneath the massive oak frame for concealed daggers or poison vials. The space under the floorboards is inspected. The chimney flue is checked. Every single person entering the room is vetted, scrutinized, and watched with hawkish intensity. The physical reality of the royal bedchamber is a stark contrast to modern comfort. There is no central heating. The royal bedchamber is freezing, damp, and smells of old sweat, burning wax, and lavender oil used to mask the stench of the palace drainage system. Getting ready for bed is not a private affair. It is a public spectacle managed by the gentlemen of the bedchamber, high-ranking nobles who hold immense political power simply because they touch the king's body. Your robes are stripped away layer by layer. The thick, padded doublets you wear during the day, lined with heavy quilting to deflect potential knife thrusts, are unbuttoned. Your feet are washed in warmed wine or herb-infused water, a common period remedy to draw out evil vapors. But even stripped of your garments, you are never alone. Privacy does not exist for a Stuart monarch. Courtiers stand around the perimeter of the room, watching every movement, analyzing every breath, hoping to catch a secret word or earn a nod of royal favor. The terror of the night is not just physical, it is deeply spiritual and psychological. James is a man haunted by the unseen world. You are the author of Demonology, a treatise on the dark arts, obsessed with the threat of witchcraft. To you, the dark is not merely an absence of light. It is a realm where malevolent spirits, curses, and demonic pacts take hold. You believe witches personally summoned a violent storm to sink your ship years ago. Now, in the dead of night, every howling gust of wind against the leaded glass windows sounds like a demonic incantation meant to end your bloodline. To combat both human assassins and demonic forces, your sleeping arrangements resemble a fortified bunker. You do not sleep alone in an empty room. Beside your massive bed, on small trundle beds pulled out from the floor, sleep your most trusted bodyguards and favorite nobles. They sleep with their clothes on, swords unsheathed and resting on the floor beside their hands. Outside the heavy oak door, armed yeomen of the guard stand shoulder to shoulder, their pikes clattering against the stone floors at the slightest noise. Yet despite the guards, despite the iron bars on the windows and the fires roaring in the hearth, sleep rarely comes easily. You lie beneath heavy goose-down quilts, staring up at the carved wooden canopy. Every sound is amplified. The shifting of coal in the grate sounds like a lit fuse. The scuttle of a rat behind the wainscoting sounds like an assassin creeping through hidden passages. The heavy red wine you drank at dinner to numb your anxiety churns in your stomach, bringing nightmares of blowing up into a cloud of ash and flame. The dark turning point of this night ritual comes when illness and fear intertwine. The 17th century possessed no real medicine, only brutal remedies born of ignorance. If the stress of the night manifests as a fever or a sudden stomach ache, the night takes a ghly turn. Royal physicians are summoned from their sleep. They arrive with leather bags filled with dried toads, crushed beetle shells, and silver lancets. To cure the king's middle of the night ailments, they bleed you. Bloodletting involves slicing open a vein in your arm by candle light, draining pints of blood into a pewter bowl while you sit shivering in your nightshirt. They apply blistering plasters to your neck and make you swallow mixtures containing mercury and crushed pearls. The pain of the treatment is often worse than the ailment itself, leaving you weak, sweating, and completely vulnerable in the pitch-black hours before dawn. In these quiet, agonizing hours between the bleeding and the dawn, the true burden of the crown becomes clear. You are the absolute ruler of a nation, chosen by divine right, yet you are a prisoner of your own mortality. The gold ring on your finger cannot shield you from a hidden poisoner, a corrupt guard, or a sudden stroke. You live in a golden cage, surrounded by hundreds of people who bow to your title, yet you cannot trust a single person in the room to keep you safe once your eyes close. When sunrise finally filters through the heavy glass windows of Whitehall Palace, it brings no true relief, only the start of another day of vigilance. The guards pull back the bed curtains. The courtiers rush in to dress you once more in your padded, knife-proof clothes. You survived another night, but the sun merely reveals the next set of plots brewing in the shadows of the court. The story of King James I at bedtime is a reminder that power throughout history has almost always been traded for peace of mind. We look at ancient palaces and gilded thrones with awe, forgetting that the men and women who inhabited them often lived in a state of quiet, unrelenting horror. Behind the velvet, the lace, and the magnificent portraits were fragile human beings lying awake in the cold, listening to the wind and waiting for the end. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark, paranoid corners of history, hit subscribe to Past Legacy for more fascinating stories every week. Like, comment, and share if this changed the way you see the Stuart era.